Sonic Superstars. Yes, dude. Yes, dude. Yeah. Wait, what do you mean it's kinda underwhelming? See, with the 3D games, it's never really been smooth sailing, but after the absolute joy of Mania, a game that managed to celebrate Sonic's past while bringing new life to the series, I was pumped for Superstars. But after completing the main story and getting all the Chaos Emeralds, which took about 3 hours, I'd say it's fine. But when I'm paying 3 times the amount I did for Sonic Mania, a full $60, I expect a bit more than just fine. And this game? Well, let's just say I'm out of patience for Sonic's nostalgia shtick. I'm not here to tear this game apart or anything. It was enjoyable enough at certain points, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was literally just playing the Genesis games again. The level designs become more frustrating and claustrophobic as you progress, in a way that feels very evocative of Sonic 1, which is my least favorite of the 2D Sonics. Levels like Bridge Island and Speed Jungle have that fun early game mix of speed and precision platforming, but over the course of the game, you're met with a barrage of waiting, moving platforms, instant kill pillars, and slow-moving side-scroller gimmicks. The levels do have those traditional branching paths that reward memorization and precise movement, but for a casual playthrough, which is how I imagine many people will experience this game, it felt pretty slow, with rare moments of speed being mostly scripted on vine rails or long downward stretches. Sure, it's not meant to feel like the brain-numbing Boost era, but I also think it's funny to call the Genesis titles perfect masterpieces or have a game only be enjoyable after putting in a lifetime of speedrunning practice. The only real hidden collectibles for exploration other than the Chaos Emeralds are coins that let you buy cosmetics for your multiplayer avatar, so like, kinda just wanted to platform. You know, jump and shit. Boss fights are also a mixed bag. They're either pretty standard fights or incredibly drawn out battles that can take upwards of 3 to 5 minutes to complete. A lot of them are also side scrollers where you're always running, so you move forward really slow but backwards really fast, so things always feel kinda slippery, or they're fights where you aren't given a chance to hit the boss until you dodge like 3 waves of attacks and watch 2 stage transitions, which can get pretty tedious with how many hits you have to land. All of this feels muddied a bit more by the new Chaos Emerald ability system, which is just kinda weird. Every time you get a Chaos Emerald, a new power gets added to a weapon wheel that you can use during any level. These powers come in 2 forms, mostly useless outside of very specific situations where the game directly prompts you to use them, like finding hidden platforms or climbing up waterfalls, or abilities that kind of feel like cheating, like summoning a bunch of avatars that can attack everything on screen, or turning into a meteor that can dash through the air infinitely for like 10 seconds. I didn't really feel the desire to use these powers since a good handful of them can trivialize boss mechanics or skip interesting levels entirely, but a lot of the bosses are so frustrating and drawn out that I actually struggled to complete them without the powers. So I guess they were necessary, at least. You just kill him like this?
Oh my god!
You can just skip the boss fight?
What?
You don't even-
Oh my god!
After you beat the game, you unlock Trip and her story mode, which consists of slightly harder versions of the same levels to make use of her abilities. But I was so underwhelmed by the game the first time through that I didn't feel a strong urge to do it all over again. Maybe I'll go back someday, but with a new 2D Mario to sink my teeth into, that secret final boss is gonna have to wait. In terms of side content, the new Emerald minigame is just boring. You float around and wait for the game to lock onto a floating bubble that you can swing on in a predetermined direction, and you kinda just do that until you get close enough to the emerald. The checkpoint minigame to earn avatar coins is just the spinning puzzles from Sonic 1, which I also don't like. I don't have much to say about the battle mode either, other than the fact that it kinda looks and plays like an early proof of concept.
Oh, Lego.
Lego!
I queued up for a match on release day, waited for over a minute, got thrown in a lobby with 7 bots, and then questioned what life choices led me there. Oh my god, wait, it's Green Hill Zone!
Oh, fuck, dude, I love Green Hill Zone. I'm so glad they added it.
I was really missing it. I haven't seen it in so long, you know?
Also, I only played the main game in single player because despite the addition of a dedicated online battle mode, true multiplayer in this AAA $60 game is limited to local co-op. Real Nintendo move on that one. Also, even if you buy it on Steam, you still have to log in through Epic Games. The game also isn't very fun. But honestly, one of my biggest disappointments concerning Superstars was the music. That's usually the thing I can always rely on with Sonic games, but I'm just not really feeling this one. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, and there are a handful of great tracks, but the overall feel of the music can vary wildly. A lot of different composers worked on Superstars, so while it's neat to hear songs from old Sonic composers in the style of 3D Blast, Mania, Advance, and more, constantly jumping between different genres and instrumentation can make the vibe feel inconsistent, especially when the shift happens mid-level. Speed Jungle Act 1 is this super exciting, carefree track by T-Lopes. But then Act 2 is a moodier drum and bass track by Hidenori Shoji, which almost feels like it's from a different game. Plus, a large chunk of the OST is a forgettable beep-boop-ass collection of tracks that sound like the Genesis sound chip got flattened by a steamroller. I'm not sure who chose to constrict the sound of a brand new Sonic game to 16-bit console instruments, but like, fuck man, Mania sounded so much better. Just like, listen to these boss themes, it's not even close. In the Genesis-esque tracks, the drum samples are loud and repetitive, the synths and MIDI guitars are kinda grating, and the whole mix just feels muddy and uninteresting. Like, listen to this Sand Sanctuary track for a second. And now here's Press Factory. Hey, the instruments are a little loud. Can we turn it down a bit, maybe? It's overpowering my voice. They didn't even bother composing a new level complete jingle. They just borrowed the one from Mania because it's so good. The sound design doesn't really do the music any favors either. It felt hard to pay attention to each track as I grew more annoyed at the amount of high-pitched grating noises, like beeping and whining lasers, constant whirring and humming for moving platforms, or just unbalanced sound effects that would repeatedly play even if an enemy was far off screen. That last one felt like a bit more of a bug, but that leads me to my final point. On the build I played at launch, this game felt a bit rushed. Shocking, I know. But knowing Sega's history, along with various user reports of crashes and bad performance on Switch alongside my own experience with bugs and glitches, this game did not meet the expectations I have for a 2D platformer. It's not broken, but I've got plenty of little nitpicks that added up over the course of my short playthrough. I randomly teleported through the floor and died on the first level, trip flickered and clipped through Amy's back every time I jumped while carrying her, the Chaos Emerald screen always displayed 7 emeralds with an overblown bloom effect no matter how many I'd actually collected, a grating sound effect from Egg Fortress bugged out and played during the entire boss fight, and like, why does the darkness effect in Speed Jungle look like that? With the overall graphical style being quite colorful and charming, I feel like it could have benefited from fog that isn't just a circular mask around a solid gray rectangle. I'm sure some of these issues will be patched over time, but it's just disappointing to be met with such an underwhelming experience from a character that once defined the world of 2D platforming. In the end, I wouldn't say Sonic Superstars is bad, but with the incredible lineup of 2D and 3D platformers nowadays, Mario, Pizza Tower, Ori, Spark, Pseudo Regalia, Celeste, and yes, Sonic Mania, There's nothing that stood out to me enough to recommend this one, unless you really just want more of the original Sonic games. This is a run-of-the-mill 2D platformer that tries very few new things and stays firmly rooted in the strange world of Genesis nostalgia. Sonic Mania, a game made by a small team consisting mostly of fans, costs $20 and feels so much more fresh, so much more alive, and a majority of its levels were from existing Sonic games. For a character whose best vocal theme, arguably, is called Endless Possibilities, Sonic's world, and especially his realm of 2D, feels so bland, so sanitized, repackaged, and resold that it's best to look elsewhere if you want new ideas and innovation. You can call the first level Bridge Island, but it's hard for me to not just see it as Green Hill with a fresh coat of paint and a couple little tubes that launch you through the air. But if you spend $10 extra, you can play as Lego Knuckles, and he's really funny.
Oh, I'm excited to see the animation here. Oh, dear.
He just spins, they didn't animate it, they just